Love is one of the most mysterious forces on earth. It does not always follow logic, social rules, or public expectations. It arrives quietly, sometimes as a whisper, sometimes as a storm. For LeeMinHo and SongHyeKyo, two of Korea's most beloved superstars, love was both gentle and explosive, unexpected, delicate, and yet powerful enough to withstand the scrutiny of millions of eyes. Before the vows, before the flowers, before the world even knew, their story began quietly in the shadows where only truth could breathe. Their journey was not a fairy tale from the start, rather it was a blend of uncertainties, differences, admiration, and discovering each other beyond the glamorous spotlight. While the world saw them as global icons, they found in each other something far more precious, two souls longing to be understood not as actors, but as humans. Their story is filled with secret meetings, quiet conversations, laughs louder than applause, and promises whispered long before they were spoken aloud, long before news headlines linked their names. LeeMinHo and SongHyeKyo admired each other from afar. Minho had grown up watching Hye Kyo dominate the acting scene. Her emotional depth on screen was something he always mentioned with respect. Although Minho was younger, his talent quickly matched his growing fame, and Hye Kyo noticed their first real encounter happened during a fashion event in Paris. Both were ambassadors for global brands, but no one expected that shared room to spark a new friendship. They exchanged polite greetings, spoke briefly about work, and parted, yet something lingered, a quiet curiosity. The second meeting made things clearer. It was at a charity event in Seoul. This time they spoke longer, joking about how chaotic schedules had made their Paris encounter feel like a dream. They shared stories about acting challenges, life beyond cameras, and the irony of being adored yet often misunderstood. Hye Kyo found Minho charming and attentive. Minho found in her a grace he had never seen before. They exchanged contacts, unsure where fate would lead, but deeply aware something had begun. Their friendship bloomed gently. Calls became regular, then daily. They spoke about everything, dreams, fears, regrets, and memories that never reached the public. Away from fans, they were not Asia's most admired stars, but two individuals who enjoyed simplicity. Their conversations were not always deep. Sometimes they were silly, teasing each other about poor cooking skills or who was worse at replying to texts, but with every word they drew closer. Still neither dared to label their bond. Fame had taught them caution, hearts must be guarded, but love ignores caution. One night after a long shoot, Minho called her. She noticed his voice was tired. He admitted feeling overwhelmed, exhausted, and lonely despite success. Hye Kyo listened, offering quiet comfort. That night, he said softly, "It feels safe talking to you." That sentence changed everything. Feelings do not always ignite in dramatic scenes. Sometimes they arrive quietly in ordinary hours, yet leave extraordinary marks. Their relationship turned deeper when they traveled to different countries for work. The distance did not pull them apart, it strengthened them. Time zones did not stop them. If one was tired, the other waited. If one was sad, the other found ways to brighten the day. Minho would send her photos of sunsets, telling her how the colors reminded him of her elegance. Hye Kyo teased him for being poetic, but secretly cherished every message. Love became undeniable. It showed in the way they worried when the other was sick, the way silence between them felt comforting rather than awkward, the way their laughter came naturally. Eventually Minho asked her, "Is it okay if I start falling for you?" She smiled and answered, "You already have." Since both were globally recognized, dating publicly was impossible. Their agencies were strict, and rumors spread easily. Privacy became their shield. They met in quiet cafes, private residences, and hidden countryside spots. Their dates were simple: long walks, coffee breaks, cooking together, and watching dramas. Ironically, they avoided their own dramas, choosing ordinary stories about regular people. Minho loved driving while she played music. Sometimes they rode without speaking, just holding hands, letting the road stretch forward like their future. Though their world demanded glamour, they found peace in simplicity. No love story grows without storm. Sometimes schedules separated them for months. Sometimes intrusive rumors tested them, sometimes their own fears whispered doubts. There were moments when misunderstandings caused distance, but communication always brought them back. Minho admired Hye Kyo's emotional strength. She had endured media pressure for years yet remained calm and graceful. Hye Kyo admired Minho's sincerity. Beneath his confidence was a kind heart willing to learn, heal, and grow. They became each other's anchor, lifting, guiding, and protecting. When one felt weak, the other became strong. Their families learned about the relationship quietly. At first there were concerns: the age difference, the pressure of fame, the fear of heartbreak. But after meeting each other, those fears faded. Both families saw their genuine happiness. Minho's mother said, "If she keeps your heart peaceful, then she is the one." Hye Kyo's family appreciated Minho's respectful nature, and how he treated her with kindness, not idolization. Friends noticed how they grew. Minho became more thoughtful. Hye Kyo more playful. Love changed them softly but visibly. Minho planned the proposal quietly. He wanted something meaningful, not extravagant. He chose a private garden filled with warm lights and white flowers. It was intimate. He prepared a small box, his hands trembling. When she arrived, he held her hands and spoke from the heart. He told her how she helped him become a better man, how her kindness reshaped his life, how he wanted to share every sunrise with her. She cried before he could finish. When he asked, "Will you marry me?" she whispered, "Yes, I will." They held each other, their future sealed under a quiet sky. Before announcing anything, they spent weeks simply enjoying their engagement. Secretly, they visited meaningful places, Paris again, small towns in Korea, and peaceful temples. They talked about future homes, children, traveling the world, and living peacefully after retiring from acting. Someday they dreamed together, planned together, believed together. It was about building a life. As the wedding approached, they reflected on their journey, how a simple greeting in Paris became a lifelong commitment, how friendship deepened into love without force, how two stars found warmth not in fame but in each other. Before the vows, they learned the value of patience, communication, trust, humor, and choosing each other daily. In the final days before saying "I do," they wrote letters to each other, words meant only for their hearts. Their love was celebrated quietly away from cameras. It was sacred before the wedding ever took place. Their love had already married their hearts. They had walked through fears, shared secrets, survived storms, and embraced peace. LeeMinHo and SongHyeKyo did not fall in love because of fame. They fell in love despite it. They discovered that the most beautiful moments are often unseen: quiet laughter in parked cars, holding hands in silence, late night calls after exhausting days. The world would eventually hear wedding bells, see photographs, and celebrate. But the real story, the one before the vows, belonged only to them. Two souls, two hearts choosing each other long before anyone else knew, because true love does not begin at "I do." It begins the moment two people decide to truly see each other.